Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
And garlic.
And garlic. Commander, why are you looking
Okay.
more like a cat than a penguin?
Because I was making this thing for someone and I decided to use it.
Okay,
I have two computers. I almost have the Unreal thing set up where I do have a penguin and it has the 52 apple shaped keys, and I just need two computers running because of the lag of using Unreal capturing and then OBS if I use Unreal, but almost have the penguin, a penguin avatar set up for live stream.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to seeing that then. So yes, today I thought was National Garlic Day. I am told by Orla it is International Garlic Day because apparently it is also observed in the UK today.
Okay.
Well, that's just wonderful. I'm glad we share that with our.
I think the UK is just trying to steal our holidays.
I think so too.
Well, let's see what we got for garlic.
They're trying to make up for feeding their citizens nothing but gray paste.
Well, garlic is one thing you can probably grow up in Minnesota. It loves the cold.
Oh yeah, I know there's people here who grow it.
That's one thing that you might actually have an easier time growing than I do. I struggle with it with the heat. So if
Well,
you
you
want,
should put cooling coils in your dirt. You know, get an air conditioning system and just bury it.
I have thought about different ways of cooling down things for cooler or weather crops. So if I remember correctly, it was a soft neck garlic that you want to grow for hotter climates, and it's the hard neck that you want for colder climates. Just double check that. Got that written down.
All I
really
know
much
is it's
about the
good on
plant.
pizza.
Yeah, I don't really know much about the plant or where it's native to. Of course, I suppose it's one of those that we've probably been cultivating for 1,000 years, so
Oh yes, it's
probably
one.
won't grow in its original environment anymore.
Well, now why would that be?
Well, it might still grow in its original environment.
Well, just oftentimes things that Europeans like, they cultivate to grow in Europe, and then they don't grow if they came from a warmer climate originally. At very least, we wind up creating subspecies. I mean, look what we did to broccoli.
Well, there are other species of the allium, which is basically the genus that it's from. You have, of course, onions, and another one that you can grow in hotter climate, and tends to be used as a substitute for garlic, is elephant garlic, which is actually a variety of wild leek.
The
Is it
exact
great? Is
origins
it-
of garlic were from like West China, Kazakhstan, and that area. And it spread as far as Egypt really damn quickly.
Let's see who we got in the side chat here. I saw Greg Hartwick and Mr. Shadow Kitty before we started. We have Harmonica Man and Nerdy and Doc Fearsome. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. I have a day off. I hope that they don't like say you're working Saturday, because I look forward to the Starsky stream and all, and getting work done on the stuff that I do.
Yep.
I have a day off today too. Oh wait, I got every day off. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about trying to figure out when I had a day on, but
Work is such a creepy thing to have to do, isn't it?
Well, it's not like there aren't benefits to it. But I understand that some people are disabled, people get old and whatnot, and I'm cool with, all that. I have a brother who's on Social Security disability. During the pandemic, I used my diagnoses to be able to not starve to death.
Well, as you all can see, we're back to our outdoor shot. And it's finally warm enough to be out here, and the tape will stick to this tape will stick to the window, so we can hold up the camera, and there we are.
What's that thing in the background? It's like a grain thing or some kind of
it's a grain elevator. It's where they put all the corn and soybeans after harvest, and they hold them there till the market is right, and then they send them off.
Today's a very special day. This morning I came to the sudden realization that llamas are really just swayback camels.
Doc, what have you been smoking?
Camel dung.
Well, that'll do it, yeah.
Black garlic, I don't think I've heard of black garlic.
I've heard of it. I've never tried it or seen it or anything like that.
Yeah. I wonder if Soft Girl's tried it. Soft Girl's half Italian. And basically will say there's never enough garlic in anything you cook.
Yeah, I love garlic myself. I can go heavy on garlic as well.
I'm on my mom's side. You have Polish Jews, and then you have Italian Jews. So you have the Italian was actually quite fun to eat all of the time.
I also don't mind the smell of garlic. You know how people complain about how it makes your breath stink and all that? Doesn't bother me at all.
Well, in moderation, it doesn't do anything but taste yummy when used on Italian food.
You know you've had too much garlic when your body sweat starts to smell like garlic.
No, that's when you have had just the right amount.
Leo Biscaglia said that as a child, his mother always made him wear a clove of garlic, that it was supposed to keep him healthy, and he said it worked, but he believed it was because nobody ever got close enough to breathe on him.
Also helps keep vampires away.
I would believe that. Boy, that's a name I haven't heard in decades. Leo Biscaglia.
Oh, I love his writing. I got to see him live once when he came to Minneapolis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And since it's popular around here, your potatoes and garlic go great together.
Actually, that's what I mean right now. Is fried potatoes with a fair amount of garlic in them.
I just had my lunch is a bologna sandwich.
Okay, Nerdy says the black garlic is kind of sweet, which is weird for garlic.
Not sure I've ever had black garlic before.
No, I don't think I have.
Look up a picture on Google and put it up. Let's see it.
It's a type of aged garlic, I think, that is colored in a deep brownish black. Well, that's interesting.
Well, Nerdy did supply a link here, so let's bring that up. Okay, pretty clear where it gets the name from.
Yeah, it looks like little bits of charcoal in there.
I can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
You know, bring Jenny down.
I keep forgetting that.
There you go.
StreamYard added that extra button press I have to do.
Oh, that's way different than regular garlic.
Yeah, it does look like it's already been charred.
Well, it's segmented. I mean, garlic is segmented too, but it's an irregular shape, kind of random. And this looks like it's all ordered. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, if you look at the whole clothes in the picture, they don't look any different before they're peeled.
Oh, ramen. That's a good idea. I think I might have to try that. What else do you use the oil in? What?
Let's see, it's made by placing garlic in a warm, moist, controlled environment and over the course of several weeks. Interesting.
Oh, black garlic isn't a plant. It's just what you do with regular garlic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Axe. Okay, what did you say that they put it in?
I was just reading what the Wikipedia article was saying.
read it again.
It's made by placing garlic in a warm, moist, controlled environment over the course of several weeks. A process that produces black cloves. The black garlic is used in a wide variety of culinary applications.
So it changes.
Putting it in a warm, moist environment sounds like a good way to promote mold and fungus.
Well, imagine it's very controlled. Black garlic or separated cloves are aged in an environment of controlled humidity, 80 to 90%, and at temperatures ranging from 60 to 90 degrees Celsius, or 140 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, for 15 to 90 days.
Hi, Kira.
Typically 85% humidity at 70 C for 40 days. No additives or preservatives are used, and there is no burning of any kind. The enzymes that give the fresh garlic its sharpness break down, and the cloves turn black and develop a sticky, date-like texture. Sounds like something I could actually pull off here.
Get an environment chamber from like eBay for about $200, and you can control the temperature and humidity.
80, 90% in humidity. I could just stick it in my oven and then do the same thing. I wouldn't want to run my oven for that long, though.
Well, that's the thing. These environmental chambers are designed for running things a long time, so you don't waste a lot of energy, and you can control it better so you don't kill yourself with some kind of bacteria.
Yeah. When I was a teenager, I built my own dehydrator. It's really not a difficult thing to build, and you could set one of those up to just maintain a constant temperature for however many days you need.
Well, that's easy because you're driving off moisture.
Yeah, but you could also have a humidistat that could introduce a spray of moisture if it ever dropped below a set level.
Sure.
Yeah, between 140 and 190 degrees up. Basically, I just have to wait a few years, and I could just set it outside.
Hey, Tina.
Well, with all your humidity, it'd be ready right now.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be outside again.
Yeah, except that's why it's so blindingly bright out there.
Yeah, it sucks.
Somebody needs to turn down the sun.
You still have snow up there?
Oh, no, actually, I think it's finally all melted. I've got a north-facing window, so it's usually on my side of the building last.
our 8 inches that we got was gone by noon the next day.
Oh, I had a little bit of luck growing garlic kind of in a north-facing windowsill once in solo cups. Unfortunately, they didn't bulb up. I think they needed to spend more time in the fridge, but in a colder environment like what you have would probably work even better.
Hey, have you ever tried to grow artichokes?
I have not tried artichokes yet. That is something to try, though.
My blinds closed, but if I keep it too dark in here, I feel bad for the cat. So I always have to have one corner pinned back so the cat's got a sunny spot on the windowsill.
We just started getting leaves on our deciduous trees where I am. It's nice not to see the bare bark and all the dreary.
Yeah. It's nice when the trees start to have some color to them.
Everything started to bud out last week, but then it stopped being 80 degrees. Everything just kind of stopped where it was.
I was driving through Pennsylvania yesterday, and at a higher altitude, there was actually, it started to snow just a little bit. I was on 380.
I'm not surprised you get up a little bit in the altitude. Pennsylvania has not been all that warm lately.
I wonder how bad it's going to get in California when the 20 feet of snow they got melts.
That might be something to try for a video.
Godless Sewing said that it was gone already.
Yeah, well,
because they had a huge snow in they had a huge snow in LA. That was about a month or two ago.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem California would have with that would be some rapid soil erosion, but overall it shouldn't be a huge problem as they had such a long drought that they need to refill the aquifers and the reservoirs.
That whole state is a tinderbox filled with idiots who will set off giant explosions to announce the gender of their children for some strange reason.
Yeah. That's a trend that got way out of hand.
You know, a trend we have that's out of hand is launching balloons. Party balloons, you know, birthday balloons, all that crap. Those things don't break down.
Yeah.
And they fuck up the animals and stuff.
Yeah, they're really bad for the
Not
wildlife.
to mention the helium that they cost. Helium is a rare element on this planet.
Helium is less common than silver, I think.
Yeah, it's just plain rare.
And we fill party balloons with it. We choke the sea turtles with those balloons. And Disney stopped doing that like in the early 90s. I remember they stopped releasing the balloons in the early 90s.
Good for them.
Yeah, a lot of places have at least banned the mass balloon releases, but you still have people doing it for private parties.
I mean, don't get rid of balloons. Balloons are just fine, but just don't let them go anymore.
Mm-hmm. Just keep your balloons leashed.
Yeah, we could like set up like balloon parks, you know, where people can have their balloons and run them around and exercise them and stuff.
Yep. Ox says there are biodegradable balloons. I wasn't aware
Yeah,
of
but
those.
try to find them.
So you
The,
probably pay a premium.
Oh,
the
yeah,
worst
I'm sure.
offenders, the worst offenders are those mylar balloons. You
Yep.
know, the shiny metallic chrome looking type stuff. That should never ever degrade.
I usually, once they deflate, I usually just kind of fold them up and keep them.
Well, they are reusable. The only reason
Yep.
why they deflate is because helium atoms just go through everything eventually.
Yeah, it's such a small molecule that can bleed through.
Yeah, here we are. Amazon biodegradable balloons for parties and Memorial. Here we are. Memorial biodegradable balloons, $13.99 for 25.
And hands PS, that actually is quite fun to do. I have done that. I have made a hydrogen oxygen separator and I have blown up balloons with fire. It is fun.
Oh, and it's like a 56. No, that's that thing. Okay.
Okay, Ox said he found 100 biodegradable balloons for under $15.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all.
Well, then maybe they should just discontinue non-biodegradable balloons. Ban them from use. Give the Republicans another thing to hate us about.
Okay, he said they're made of a biodegradable latex.
Yeah, that's what I was finding as well.
Latex
Oh, so you can
itself is
eat your
natural.
balloons.
Latex comes from the rubber trees, so I think it'd be biodegradable.
Demon, 99 balloons? What color do you want?
Luftballons.
It must be a real horrible existence, constantly getting pissed off and triggered over gas stoves and Smurfs and M&Ms and
Yeah, but that's what the Republicans count on, is getting people exhausted over the bullshit so they don't pay attention to the real issues. As far as the plastic straw issue, people get so hung up on the straws, it's like you're over focusing on the straw part. The problem really is the plastic. But even the plastic itself isn't really the problem so much as a symptom, because the plastic is made from the leftover sludge from refining oil into fuels. So even if we stopped using plastic altogether, we still have a huge environmental problem, because then they'll just be dumping the sludge somewhere. So the only real solution to the plastic issue is to get away from fossil fuels.
But as we use more and more non-fossil fuels, we'll reduce that crap as well.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to get off the fossil fuels to reduce the amount of plastic being manufactured.
nuclear.
Oh, no, I like the smell of gasoline. I heard this really disturbing environmental message several days ago. It was on public radio, and they were talking about that giant island of garbage out in the Pacific. Is so
Pacific
big.
Garbage patch.
It's so big and it's so thick now that it has begun to develop a shoreline with biology growing out of it.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Well, I had heard that on the garbage islands in the ocean, and this actually is old, this is like 20 years ago, that they discovered a form of bacteria that has evolved to the point that it is able to digest the styrofoam.
Oh, that's
stuff-
kind of good news.
Yeah, the stuff isn't exactly thriving, but it's like living in little isolated pockets.
Interesting.
Well, styrofoam is definitely a problem too. Nobody recycles styrofoam.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's very hard to, because once they form it, you can turn it into when the styrofoam is made and they form it, it expands into whatever mold that they made it with. So you gotta basically get all the fucking air out and do something to it. And I don't think you actually can recycle it in the way you can a lot of other plastics.
No, not in the same way.
Sometimes get a little pie plate and take it outside, away from the house, away from any dried plants or grass,
And make napalm.
and fill it part way with gasoline,
It's
and then start
napalm.
taking some styrofoam peanuts and throw them in. Well, you'll be amazed at how many you can get in there that will be absorbed.
See, looking at the quick answer. Short answer, styrofoam is not recyclable and shouldn't be placed in outdoor or commercial recycle bins, yada yada. Long answer, styrofoam can technically be recycled. It's just highly inefficient to do so.
That's kind of like what I was talking about. You know those really shitty clear cups, right? That constantly break? Those are polystyrene, but without any air in it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, people keep dumping styrofoam into the recycling bins, which often winds up ruining the entire load of recycling and means they can't recycle the plastic then.
And whenever someone says a food container is made of recycled plastic, they're full of shit. Because you cannot use I think you can use recycled plastic for like the lid or something, but you can't actually use recycled plastic for food containers because the plasticizers leach out.
Yeah,
not
it's very hard to make food grade containers for it.
not food grade containers, but lower grade stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you can't get really any kind of flexible plastic from the recycled stuff. It's always a very hard, rigid plastic when it's recycled. Which is why they make things like, artificial decking lumber from it.
I was thinking about melting down on certain types of plastic to make stuff.
I had a machine shop in my garage and I wanted to do that. And it was just getting enough of it, because the people who recycle it, they have people basically giving it to them.
Yeah, it's the type of plastic used in the milk jugs. You can melt that stuff down fairly easy and make stuff out of it.
I think that's I actually forget what that was. I used to remember what all the containers were made of, and then I got away from that machining world for a while.
I believe milk containers are number 2.
It's either 2 or I want to say. Well, I don't know why I want to say 4, but it might be 2.
I think the pop bottles are number 2. Yeah, again, I haven't really looked in a while either.
It's very possible that everybody else does it too. But BMW, this was 20 years or so ago, started labeling every piece of plastic that goes into their cars with the plastic type, so that the car can be properly recycled. Other manufacturers may do that now, but they were the first.
Because you have polypropylene, polybutylene, and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other poly whatever the fucks.
What Ox is saying here too, that when you cut into a hunk of red grouper and find plastic in the meat, yeah, that's becoming an increasing problem that it's coming back at us because it's getting into the food chain. So especially in the oceans, it's getting into the stuff that we fish out of the oceans to eat.
We actually have plastic in our rain.
A little plastic won't hurt you.
Oh, and he says milk is number 2.
Too. Okay.
Yeah, that makes a really good building material. Not for all purposes in building, but you can make fake 2x4s and that kind of thing. They'll do just fine in a stud wall. I don't know that I'd use them for a load bearing.
I saw somebody take bottle caps made from the number 2 plastic, melt them down, and make a cutting board out of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You can get cutting boards dirt cheap at dollar stores.
Yeah, and Jenny, you can't use the plastic studs in a stud wall because they will deform over time.
You mean when they're load bearing or not?
Well, even if they're not load bearing, even if they're just holding the weight of the wall itself, they will deform just from holding the weight of the drywall or whatever you connect to them.
I was thinking if I could add some kind of additive to it to make them more resistant to sun. I could make a raised bed out of melted down and plastic bottles.
Well, that's the stuff they sell for.
UV is really
antioxidants. Things keep it from oxidizing and breaking down.
Yeah, one idea I was thinking was maybe using a solar resistant paint on the outer part of it, so the actual plastic is not exposed.
One of the best uses of number 2, recycled number 2, is those 5-gallon garbage pails, because you could fill them up with dirt and grow garlic in them.
You don't really need that much space to grow garlic.
Shh, don't complain. I just brought us back on topic.
Nice job at wrapping it back to the original topic.
See, now we can claim that all this time we were talking about garlic.
There you go. Well, like I said, I've grown garlic in those plastic solo cups on a windowsill. You can do that.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't get any bulbs because it was just I didn't put them in the fridge for long enough. I think, but I got plenty of greens.
Well, you can eat garlic greens, can't you? Dice them up real
Oh
fine.
yeah, they're good. When I did that, I put them in a soup.
It's really sad the way American marketing works, but despite the number of solo cups that have been sold over the years, Han hasn't gotten a penny of that.
You should sue.
What? Say that again?
Han Solo hasn't gotten a penny off the solo cups.
Oh, I see. Well, neither has Napoleon from God, what was that spy show on TV?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Granny.
Hey, Granny.
Hello, how are you?
Hi there.
Okie
Doing good.
In France, it's illegal to name a pig Napoleon because of Animal Farm.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
No, I had not heard that. Oh, and we have Stephanie too.
Hi, Stephanie.
Oh, hi.
Oh, we got all the old farts here now.
Oh, and speaking of old parts here, I am organizing that on Saturday, May 20th, I am going to do a special stream with all of us old people discussing what it was like to be an adult before the internet.
Assuming we were actually adults.
Adult age anyway, not necessarily behaving as adults.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Why would you want an adult?
I'm really not thrilled about the idea of human. I'd rather just cat.
Remember, adult is just one step away from adult.
There was life before the internet, huh? Wow.
Not really. Man from Uncle. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Ox. We appreciate that.
Well, Ox, fine. I'm coming down there.
So, Sweet, how you
Phrasing.
doing?
Who's that?
How you doing? How's your recovery going?
Just got done with a 5-mile walk.
Wow, I can't walk 5 miles anymore.
Nice.
I have a 5K that I hope to jog the whole thing this weekend.
So you must be doing really
recovery
well.
recovery is going well. The good news is obviously that I can run again. And the leak was fixed.
Great.
Weird having a leak in your tubing.
Let's say if you're doing 5-mile walks, you're doing pretty good.
Sounds like you're being a lot more active than most people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figure with the way that people like to play games and the dopamine injections you get from like doing well at games, like the activity Apple puts out, for all the evil corporations do, they actually do have some useful things that they put out with their like, close the ring on your activity bar for the day and stuff like that. You can gamify kind of your daily exercise and it works.
Okay, I want to go back to the dopamine injections. Where do I get that?
You do it by
got the
completing
needles here.
by completing tasks.
Mm,
When you
wonder I've
finish
never
something,
felt
you get
that.
a dopamine injection from your brain.
Completing tasks? Oh, I'm screwed.
That's what I was saying. No wonder I've never felt that. But actually, it's like no scientific papers to really explain it all. But it seems that everything that's weird with my brain comes back to not enough dopamine.
Yeah.
Including it being one of the leading theories on Tourette's. They still don't know what causes Tourette's, but the leading theory is that there's too many dopamine receptors in the brain, so you can't produce enough dopamine to keep them all filled.
So you're not producing enough dopamine and you have too many receptors, huh?
Yep, that's why anything that gives me a dopamine surge helps with a bunch of things, including keeping down Tourette's, and also that it helps with the autism.
Be interesting to see if they can come out with some synthetic way to increase dopamine production that isn't a stimulant.
Yeah.
That isn't harmful because the drugs that cause the release of dopamine eventually, like opioids and all that, you eventually need more and more and more of it to stay normal.
Yeah, well, I think that's also why I was always so hypersexual, because that was the easiest way to get the dopamine boost.
So far. So the drugs that we have so far, I'm hopeful that science can keep going on that.
I could see dopamine, if it were to become a drug that you could take to make you feel better, it's becoming very addictive.
Well, you can actually, so that one of the drug companies we funded out in Iowa City, they patented the process to attach sugars to around the, and this is actually for ADHD, on Vyvanse, the amphetamine molecule. So you could take as much as you want amphetamine, but your body could only get to it so fast. So you could down the entire bottle and it wouldn't matter. You'd only get one dose.
I used to take Vyvanse, and then I lost about 60 pounds. And the dose that I was on, basically, I was going nuts at the time.
Were you on the 150 or the 75?
I don't remember. They took me off of it in 2018.
Vyvanse is kind of hit or miss. It really works for a lot of people, but there's a good subsection that
I want to go back on it again, but I drive commercial now. I used to do machining. So they're not going to let me on it driving commercial.
Okay, if you drive commercial, how long do you have to keep going before they up you to driving sitcom?
Ha 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 ha.
Aha.
Come on, let's
I don't-
go
You know
for
what I
prime
meant?
time.
Commercial driver's license.
Mm. Oh.
So, Purple, are you sleeping at all at night?
Yeah, still my usual, no more than 2 hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep for 2 hours, lay there for an hour trying to fall back to sleep, sleep for an hour. Basically go like that all night.
This
So
this
I have
having
to
a
stay in bed 10 hours to get 4 or 5 hours sleep.
this having a dog and having to get up in the morning to walk has been the one big adjustment for me.
Yeah, the dog kind of needs to be on a schedule.
Yeah.
That's what's kept Sloth Girl from getting a dog. She keeps wanting one, and I keep reminding her that, well, you got to walk them every day, even when it's below 0. And that usually puts that idea down.
No, you can set up a pad in the house, so you can go on that.
Yeah, I did know a woman who had trained her dogs to go in the shower stall if she wound up being late coming home from work. Because it was the easiest area. You could just, spray it down, spray it with some bleach, and it's good.
Maybe I can teach a dog to go in the bathtub.
I'm sure you could train her for it, yeah.
I'm just thinking there are going to be times where I'm going to run into situations where I can't take her out for a walk because like hurricanes, tropical storms.
Yep. Yeah, you could either use the puppy pads, but training her to go in the bathtub, I think, would be a viable solution for any time she needs to go that you can't get her out.
Mm.
Jenny, are you at a park?
Yes, I am. I'm at the Houston Nature Center.
Oh, cool.
It's right out to my left. What you're seeing there is a band shell.
Nice.
Yeah, it is actually.
Looks overcast.
Yes, it is. It rained all last night, all night.
It didn't snow?
Nope, that was north. I hear they got it good again.
Yeah, La Crosse got a foot of snow.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
That's
I knew
where
it snowed in Chicago the other day, too.
That's where my sister lives. So she sent me pictures of her backyard.
Yeah,
Well, we got like 5-6 inches last Thursday. And, well, actually, no, Thursday it was like 80 degrees. And then on Saturday, we got 5 or 6 inches of snow.
It's
That's
been a
just the way it goes here.
remarkably. Sorry, it's been a
I live 20 miles away from La Crosse, west, and on that same store that she got a foot, we got about 8 inches, and it was gone by noon the next day.
Wow.
It's been a very remarkably mild spring here, but it sounds like colder weather is headed my way. So
it's headed here too. We're 80 degrees or 85 degrees today, and we will be a high of 41 tomorrow.
Can't you make up your mind weather?
Yeah, that's what we got today is 42 degrees.
So my favorite story, so Omaha is considered high steppe, so much like Mongolia. And my favorite story is from one of the gatherings of the Mongolian heirs to elect their new leader, the new Khan. And a Christian missionary was there to document it. And they talked about how the weather went from early morning, a blizzard with hail. The hail was a foot thick, killed countless people. And then it was 80 degrees and it melted so fast they had flash floods, which killed a whole bunch of other people and knocked down tents and the entire encampment and all that other stuff. And then the next day was 70 degrees and perfect. So that's the high step.
So if if Nebraska is like the steppes of Mongolia, how come I've never heard of the famous Nebraskan throat singers?
That's the football team.
Oh. What are the Nebraskan teams named?
Cornhuskers.
We had the Cornhuskers and
Oh,
then the Creighton Blue Jays.
You got a lot of
of
engineering
the-
firms
of-
in Omaha, right?
HDR is here. The biggest companies here are obviously Union Pacific, Berkshire Hathaway, ConAgra. And there's one other one I'm forgetting. But anyway, we had 5 Fortune 500 companies at one point. But yeah, we're most famous for Warren Buffett.
He drives
In
a
States.
Toyota, right?
He drives a Cadillac, brand new every year. They give him one.
Yeah, he's a deserving billionaire. Here, have a Cadillac. Okay.
Around here he's most famous because he's lived in the same house since the 1960s.
Yeah.
And the house without his name attached to it is, nothing special in a nothing special neighborhood.
Are you talking about Buffett?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the house. It's just this little 2-3 bedroom ranch piece of junk from the 50s.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
To be fair, Warren Buffett does say that nobody should have as much money as he does. And he was the one billionaire who came out and said that his secretary pays more taxes than he does.
Yeah, because he pays on a capital gains rate. Now, in an absolute sense, there's no way. But as far as the net effective tax rate, he's correct. But his secretary also makes $500,000 a year.
My brother on Social Security disability in 2018, he had to pay more money to the federal government in taxes than Donald Trump did.
Well,
think
do
a
we
lot
have
of
any
us-
More in
evidence that
terms of
Donald Trump-
dollar, not percentage, in terms of dollar amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we have any evidence that Donald Trump has paid any taxes?
A few years he has. We've seen a few tax reports that say he has, but that's not much. I mean, it's de minimis.
Well, he has to be undervaluing something there.
Well, that's
Well,
what the New
it's-
York Attorney General is getting him on, is
Mhm.
because he claimed different amounts for his taxes on his
To get
properties.
sweetheart deals on the loans.
Yeah, than he did. He undervalued them to the banks for the loans, or he undervalued them for tax purposes, and he overvalued them when he was going for loans.
Yep.
So
That-
that's how
that
they're
load of
getting
his
him on fraud.
That load of his tax returns that the Congress got and were able to open up and see. There was 2 years, I think, that he paid $500,000 or $1 million in taxes, and all the rest of it were like $750 and $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that there were several years it was under $1,000.
I think he's an ingrate. My grandfather had to give about 30 grand to the federal government in the late 50s, and my mom said she didn't see him complain worth a damn because he knew what it was like to live in countries where you had nothing and everyone wanted to kill you.
Warren Buffett's sister is the one that helped fund the Buffett Cancer Center here in Nebraska, and that is quite possibly second behind MD Anderson as far as quality.
I understand his wife gives a lot of his money away.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry I missed a bunch of the side chat there. I was busy getting people's links in the description.
Yeah,
I
totally
see.
Taxes
legit.
are bogus. I think you need to
They give-
extrapolate on that.
They
Taxes-
give no
yeah,
money to
taxes
the
are
athletic
critical.
departments. That's interesting.
Taxes are critical if you have any kind of a government. They need some kind of revenue to be able to provide any kind of services.
Yeah, it's a hard one to get past libertarians.
Well, see, and I don't mind paying taxes if they explain what the money is being used for.
Yeah,
I
how
hate
it's being
paying
used.
taxes that go into a slush fund and you don't know where the money's going.
$250 for an hammer, $800 for a toilet seat. Come on now.
I have heard some suggestions of maybe having the taxpayer get to dictate where their taxes go. What do you think of that?
I don't think
Um,
that's viable because then you'll have people who don't have kids think that they don't need to pay for the public schools,
Hmm.
when actually paying for the public schools, helps everyone because you need a workforce making higher wages to support you after you retire.
I think you should be able to dictate 5% of your federal taxes to where it goes.
So a portion of
Kitty.
it then. That's not a bad idea, I guess.
Kitty.
Hello.
Figured I'd just pop in and say hi. See how everyone is doing.
How's your
Hi,
heart
kitty.
from all your energy drinks?
Nice. Nice.
400 milligrams, or sorry, 390 milligrams of caffeine in one of these.
Wow.
Shit, that's a lot.
Yeah,
I wish I had
I'm
this
bound and
sonic
determined to
music.
explode my heart.
Yeah, and I made the joke on one of her tweets that you can survive that.
Yes. Well, no, and Panera, like they're gunning for me and my caffeine addiction because for $11.99 a month, I can get unlimited of these. So I am putting it to good use.
Gonna pull off a Philip J. Fry thing going though.
So I got my Mother's Day gift early. I went to the salon and got my hair done. And turns out, like, not only was I super excited to like have someone do my hair because I usually do it myself, but it's a small business, women owned, woman of color owned, which amazing. And her hair model is going to be moving. So I might be having all kinds of crazy fun colors done in my hair, working, as a hair model for her. So I'm super stoked about that. And it means
Cool.
like I'll get awesome upkeep and I won't have to worry about it. And it cost me less than I was expecting. So I used the extra to go and finally get my eyebrow pierced, which was something I've been putting off for like 10 years. So just got this done yesterday.
Oh, you got a bit of
Very
metal stuck
cool.
in your head.
Now you can get cyborg implants. Kitty.
Sorry.
Now you can get Borg implants.
Right? Like, but I would have to be Lacatus instead of Lacutus.
Oh,
Can I pick up
okay.
radio
That
signals?
sounds good.
But
But yeah.
You could be Lacutus. You're much cuter than he was.
Aw. I don't know. I mean, Jean-Luc Picard like would smash. Like, just saying.
He is the man who made being bald sexy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Sir Six said he would have Jean-Luc Picard's babies.
Okay.
I mean, I would.
Doggo just came in for pets.
Swede, my grandfather went to Creighton.
me
I see
too.
your Creighton shirt. Yeah. In
And my
fact,
hat.
if you go to the University of Creighton Library, they have my granddad's papers there in a room. You can go see them. He was a lawyer with the war trials in Japan after World War II.
Oh.
And so his legal papers are at Creighton University Law School.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from their finance school.
Ah,
I
cool.
am not a lawyer.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like it's even my first piercing in my head. I have 9 piercings in my ears, my nose, my tongue, like the eyebrow, belly button, both nipples. Like I'm like I should be getting Wi-Fi, like better Wi-Fi at this point. Just,
Yeah,
you know. But no, like it's fun and like it's like expressing yourself, like,
Mhm.
like I love that, you can change things up, and I have to wait a month and a half before I can change the jewelry. I'll probably get something either like the rainbow metal or like something like this where it's like blue and purple. like shift.
Get a kitty
But
stud.
yeah. But no, like it honestly, I didn't even flinch. Like it didn't even really hurt. Like and then like right after I did it, I went and I scratched my forehead and my nail like clipped it and it didn't hurt. Like the only reason I realized I did it was because my nail caught on the jewelry and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's a thing." But I mean, it is just like loose skin. Like there's no like cartilage or anything there. So I mean, it was a little tiny pinch and then it felt a little tight and like maybe like a mild sunburn, for a little bit. But now I don't really feel anything at all, even like when, I'm washing it like a couple of times a day to keep it clean and then, salt water after washing it. But yeah, like it doesn't feel like anything at all now. Like it just felt a little bit warm like a sunburn for a couple of hours afterwards and now it's fine.
Yeah, I still need to get my ears re-pierced. I had done when I was in New York, and actually it was the first time I took the earrings out. Just for one night, they closed up, and we couldn't find the holes again to put them back in.
So, funny story about that. I have my cartilage pierced, and I actually got both done at the same time. And then one of them got infected, and I let it close up. So then I went and got the side that closed up re-pierced, but it was actually slightly off from the original. And when I went to change the jewelry, I accidentally punctured it through the original hole. So now I have two on one side and, one on the other. Actually, I've got earrings in, so hold on.
Yeah, well, what's that that thing they do? Oh, let me make you larger there. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
What's that thing that they do that some people have like rings put in their ears that they enlarge the hole and put rings in.
It's called gauging your ears.
Yeah, gauging. That was the word I was looking for.
There you go. There's a themed cat moon thing for your eyebrow.
I will definitely have to check that out. Like, I actually at one point, like, I mean, I don't like really subscribe to like astrology or anything, but it is fun that I do identify with my sign because I mean you're supposed to, like they're generic enough. But I'm a Sagittarius, and I actually had found these little nipple rings that they were essentially a bar, and it had an actual like bow and arrow. So it was like little bow and arrows with like the bar going through. They were so cool, and they had like little pink like rhinestones in them. And I wore those for a while, but like then they would like catch on my bra or something, and it was like not worth it. Oh, that is so cute. That is so cute. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be getting that.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna be getting that. That is
looked
so
like,
me.
Yeah, that looked like you.
That is so me.
Well, I was thinking that
Absolutely.
for something that would be exclusive for me is I was thinking I should do the gauging just to the point that I can fit a single Lego stud through it, and then I can just clip all sorts of things there.
There you go.
Speaking of Lego studs, my sister sent me a video on TikTok, and it was the coolest thing. They used Technic bricks, and they basically, you remember those old like little pin things where you would put your hand in it and it would like raise up the pins? They
Yep.
made one of those out of Lego Technic bricks, and it was so cool. It was
That
so
does sound
cool how
like
they
a
did
cool
it.
idea.
I'll see if I can find the video, and I'll send you the link, Purple, because like that is like right up your alley. But you need a lot of like the Technic pieces to do it.
Yeah, well, that's not really difficult anymore. I mean, you can go on Bricklink or even on the Lego home site. You can just buy individual pieces now. So if you just need 1,000 of the same piece, you can order them.
Yeah.
Oh, the bag. Hey, Diana.
No.
Boo.
Will cows eat garlic?
The Japanese called the Koreans the garlic eaters.
Yeah, Trusty Ape, that Sloth Girl has a lot of problems with jewelry also. Basically, high-grade stainless steel is the only thing she can wear. Anything else she'll have a skin reaction to.
You didn't
Even
save
gold.
her?
Were you saying something, Jenny?
No,
I thought people who had metal allergies could still wear sterling silver.
Yeah, sterling silver's okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
And
think
wear
sterling
gold.
silver and like maybe surgical steel, but I don't know.
Rhodium. You
I
can wear
put-
rhodium.
I put the link for the thing in the private chat, Purple. So that's the TikTok that that my sister sent me.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. I'll look at it later. Unfortunately, I don't think I can play the TikTok thing in the stream.
I'll put it in the side in the chat for. Oh, maybe I can't. Hold on, got the wrong link.
Oh.
Let's try that again.
Diane, if you wanted to come in too, I put a link in your group.
There we are. Okay, there's the TikTok link for everybody.
Thanks, Mage.
Cool.
It's definitely really neat, like the way that he did it, and you can make them pretty much any size you want, which is really cool.
If you hear the dog growling, that's because she's playing tug of war right now.
Nerdy said there was a garlic war in California in the 1970s.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up.
if they threw garlic plugs at each other. Or...
I think that's how all wars should be fought.
Did it
Well-
involve vampires?
Hey, no, like, we gotta respect vampires. Like, I would give anything to be a vampire.
Vampire
No
lives
lie.
suck.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Sunlight shy. We don't call
Do
them
I look
vampires
like I go in
anymore.
the sun? I mean, do I look like I go in the sun?
Hey, that's what's paying off for me now. 50 years of avoiding the sunlight really pays off at this age.
I mean, I'm pushing 40. I don't look it. I will be 37 years old this year. But I don't look it because I don't go out in the sun.
Yeah, that's how I still get people guessing me as at least 10 years younger.
I got carded to get a piercing. You only need to
Oh,
be 18
really?
for that. Yeah. I got carded for the piercing yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, I was still getting carded in my 30s.
I think they
I'm not
have to card you if
complaining.
you look under 35.
But I'm pretty sure that, I'm pretty sure that I don't look 18.
Yeah.
The
I saw
po-
pictures of me when I was 18 or 17. Close enough.
The posted policy at our grocery store used to say to the cashiers, if they don't look old enough to be your grandparents, card them.
I remember when I was going into the alcohol once we were doing the pandemic to get some alcohol, and they were carding me. I was like, "How would you tell?" Because I was sitting there I had my sunglasses on, I had the mask on. There's no way of actually knowing it was me.
I'd wondered about that too when I went into the liquor store during the pandemic and they carded me. It's like, yeah.
Mannerisms.
Okay, so I want to say something that Ox living forever sucks. So here's the thing: being immortal would only be good if there was an off ramp, like if there was a way to, end your immortality.
Walking
But
out in the sun.
like the true I actually am working on writing a story right now, and the main character is immortal. but like not immortal where it's like, oh, you know, they can be killed. It's just really hard. There is nothing that will kill them. They could literally like hug a nuclear bomb and have it blow up, but because of the way they are and like there's a soul thing, they would essentially reform kind of like Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen. And so it is literally, she is going to be around for the heat death of the universe all alone. And that is a curse.
Yeah.
So Captain Jack Harkness.
Well,
Because like that
there's
kind of
some-
immortality is like, you would think, oh yeah, living forever, like able to regenerate from anything, that would be great. But if you're the only one, like you're gonna fucking go batshit crazy eventually.
Well, with Jack, there is some suggestion that he does eventually die.
Well, he is the face of Bo, right?
Yeah.
Technically, there is a way for the character to die, because it's basically if you take Dr. Manhattan and Highlander, like the only way for her to die is if someone of her own species actually kills her and absorbs her soul. So then she's still technically like living on through them, but like more as just empowering them more, but like her existence at that point would have ended. But there's only 2 people in this dimension that have the ability to end her, and they're bad and she needs to end them, so she's basically gonna be fucked.
So basically,
And not in a good way.
so
Okay,
basically
Mikey
she-
has a solution.
I mean, that's like I think a subsection of the Geneva Convention of something you're not allowed to do.
That's pretty funny, Mikey.
So basically, she's going to eventually have to live with a bad guy in her head for all eternity.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And it's her father and her half brother. So yeah. Like she definitely drew the short end of the stick when it came to that, because it's not like an elf, you
Watch it.
know, or a vampire where there's an off ramp for the immortality. It's a yeah, because like she's kind of like an anti-hero, you know, like because she is like an assassin, and like she has killed people, sure, but she also has like a moral code, and like she, you know, helps raise, like take in orphans and, you know, take care of them and everything. Like she's like the epitome of chaotic neutral. Like, you know, I'm gonna be good, but I'm also not gonna shed tears about ending a motherfucker, you know. And so she does like her whole thing, you know, and she's actually kind of like a vampire. She does actually need to drink blood. So, you know, it ties into the whole garlic vampire thing.
What happens if she
But-
doesn't drink blood?
She eventually goes kind of feral.
Huh.
And like it's basically agonizing, burning pain and
Oh, wow.
suffering.
Oh, that would be fun after the heat death.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's gonna just, her brain's gonna break. And
Yeah,
it's not
she's
gonna be
just gonna
fun.
go insane.
Yeah, pretty
Okay,
much.
so let's see. The show is all sorts of fun things to talk about today. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, but I have to
Is her
touch
name
on one
Yahweh?
point
Because
you
that sounds like
mentioned
what
there.
Yahweh would do. Just go
What
and
did you
it.
say, Purple?
I have to touch on one thing Kitty mentioned there. That the character was an anti-hero. So this implies the existence of niece or nephew heroes.
Ugh.
That's worthy of me, for Christ's sake.
I think we should take Kitty's suggestion and we should all try to sing a gazillion bottles of beer on the wall.
Oh man, we actually did that at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were doing a tour of New England when I was in college choir, and at one point, somebody just started singing "A Million Bottles of Beer on the Wall," and we picked it up. And I think we went on this through what is that? We went on all the way through Connecticut.
Mm.
There we go. That's my
I would
next road
probably
trip.
kill everybody in the bus. Shut up.
Hi, Jeff.
I was going to say that's my next road trip next time I drive out to see Diane. I just see how many bottles of beer I get up to if I sing it continuously for 19 hours.
There you go. Now, okay, I have a question, Nerdy. Did somebody actually come up with garlic beer? I know there are some really strange things based on garlic. There's
I've heard-
garlic ice cream.
Yeah, I was just going to mention garlic ice cream.
Yeah. Garlic beer would not surprise me. There's a company that sells a garlic soda pop.
Yeah.
They make so much weird stuff as into beer. It's just weird. Cucumber beer,
There you go. No, I will
habaneros beer.
That's because they know if it's beer, somebody will drink it.
Yeah. Now, I will say that peanut butter and garlic sandwiches do exist.
Oh,
Peanut butter beer.
Yeah, I invented them.
I found a home recipe for garlic beer.
I've been eating peanut butter on garlic since I was a kid.
Oh, okay. So I'm not the only one then. Okay.
No, people really curl their lips when you tell them that, but it's a great combination. And look, Chinese cooking puts peanuts and garlic together in lots of dishes.
Yes.
Yep. And anything I put peanuts and garlic together in, I have hated.
A friend of mine mentioned that Thai cooking does garlic and peanuts as well.
Yeah, Thai cooking does a lot with peanut sauces, and there's always garlic in it.
Every once in a while, I buy one of those frozen loaves of garlic bread.
Okay.
And I toast half of it and have it as my peanut butter platform.
Oh.
I mean, I like roasted garlic peanuts. They're delicious.
I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to try roasted garlic peanuts. I'll have to do that.
I gotta run. Got a call in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Coming.
Thanks for dropping in.
She
Tell
is
you
not
what,
giving
You
up
know
this.
that you're feeling so well.
She is not giving up this tug of war game. I don't know if
Yep.
you can hear her.
Oh, I can hear her, and I'm sure that you
Yeah, I
can completely
won.
pick her up off the ground by that thing.
Oh yeah, I could.
Oh no.
I won. Sorry, I wasn't gonna let you win that one.
Well, you can't let her win all of them, or the game gets too easy. But you got to let her win often enough that she thinks she's got a good chance.
Well, she must have thought she had a good chance with that one because she was not giving up on that.
Yeah, she had it going for a good while.
Yeah, that was the longest one I think we've done.
We had watermelon beer once. It was like trying to wash the taste of Jolly Ranchers out of my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Watermelon. Aye.
I'll be right back.
I don't know. There's a song about watermelon wine that's made me curious to try it, but
Yeah. That
That sounds
actually, I would try that.
Watermelon wine, maybe.
actually, there's a couple of songs about it. I was thinking of the old Tom T. Hall song by that title.
And then there's the one, it's got a female like recording artist, like a country artist, I think. And she mentions watermelon wine in the song. Like, but country is not really my favorite genre. Like, it's actually one of my least favorites, so I don't remember it off the top of my head. But
Oh, I found the watermelon brandy.
Okay, we have somebody new here, Off the Chain Atheist.
hello.
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 Hi.
Oh, so Mage, I was talking to some of my friends in a Discord the other day, and I was like, okay, like, and it was just completely random. Like, I had a thought come to me, and I was like, all right, hear me out, everybody. Good Charlotte's My Bloody Valentine is the Yandere anthem. And then we started talking about that album, and I was like, man, that whole album was a banger. Like, that was my high school. Like, Riot Girl, Young and the Hopeless, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And I was like, you know, for the people who listen to the song Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous, like, we grew up listening to that, and now we're all eat the rich, and it totally makes sense because in it the song is basically like rich people are complaining about all their problems. It's like, fine, then give me your money and your mansions and fuck you.
Yeah, Mage Doc Fearsome's got a good suggestion for you.
Where?
Oh, that actually would
Play
be a
tug
pretty
of
good
war with the
idea.
wall.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that actually would be a good thing to set up so, she's got something to play with when you're not home then too.
Okay,
Well-
then, yeah.
well, she does have plenty of chew toys but she doesn't seem, when I'm not home, she just seems like to just kind of sit in her bed and wait.
Yeah, dogs often do that.
Scummer's got a point.
Well, I've never drank beer anyway, so I just, strictly a spectator on the sidelines for that.
Yeah.
Although I think it really has been funny, the people who are objecting to Bud Light, and almost all of them are buying another product that's produced by the same company.
I don't care who they put on the can or don't put on the can, and I'm still not drinking that piss in a can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I've often heard it, especially by the British, described as sex in a canoe. Because it's close to
because it's
water.
fucking close to water. Yes.
Someone just peed in a can. That's what they're selling.
That's what the draft horses are for. That's where they get enough pee to fill all the cans.
There you go.
Apparently, Anheuser-Busch caved to the bigots, which is disheartening.
Yeah. I can believe it's canned horse piece.
Wait, let me make sure my ears are working. You said something about Anheuser-Busch gave in to somebody?
Yeah, apparently they discontinued their association with Dylan because the right wing had lost its mind sufficiently.
Oh.
Well, they caved in. They were hoping. I think they were hoping to start controversy to get free advertising, and it didn't
Probably.
work out the way they had hoped, and their stocks went down.
Yeah, they lost something like what was it, 5 million?
Yeah,
5
I don't
billion?
know. I know their stock price had dropped, so I'm sure that's all they're responding to is that, it didn't make them as much money as they thought it would.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, when it's over, that's really all it's about anyway. I mean, when you're dealing with a business, you're dealing with the bottom line. And no, I'm not giving them a hard time about it. That's why you go into business.
Yeah, they don't really give a damn about any of the social political stuff. They're just virtue signaling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I need to get going, but thank you all for letting me come in. It's been fun talking to you.
Oh, anytime. Love to have you here.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
is
I'm
a stock
happy
law.
that I got to see you.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, it was a
You're
stock loss
sweetie.
of 5 billion.
And then there's this cat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so their investors didn't like the way it played out.
I love that they were like going with like Coors, and like Coors has like supported LGBT like pride parades and stuff since like the 90s or whatever. And so it's like they're like there's 3 companies that make beer, like at least like mass produced beer, and like all of them like would not pass their woke test. They're too woke, but I mean, whatever. These people are stupid.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
There are dozens of beer companies who are using rainbow stripes. Dozens. And most of them are owned by the same people who own Bud Light.
I actually visited the Anheuser-Busch brewery in New Hampshire. It was in Merrimack, New Hampshire, and I got to watch the bottling line and stuff like that. But I can't drink beer. Like, granted, I was a minor at the time, but even as an adult, I can't drink beer or anything with hops in it, or it trashes my stomach.
It wasn't the rainbow stripes that were pissing him off so much as it was the affiliation with a trans chick.
Wait a second. How does this whole loss of 5 billion in their stocks and them coming out and deciding to end this fit with the narrative that the boycott didn't work?
I really love the way the right wing does their boycotts, though. How they go out, buy the product, and then shoot it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is
When
funny.
they give the
People, that's what
company
they
the
are.
money so they can destroy the product, those are really useful boycotts. Yeah. What country artist sings "Strawberry Wine"? You know, if Sloth Girl was here, she could tell you. I know that one's on her play stick in the
Hold
car.
on.
Actually, I think my favorite one they got pissed off
Deana
about
Carter?
Rainbow. The one
For
I think
Deana Carter?
Tommy Rowe.
my favorite one that they got pissed off about rainbows was the one with the Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that they didn't know what the original album cover looked like.
Yeah, that was pretty good. In fact, that is my favorite stupid thing they've done. Well, you took Scummers off too soon.
Yeah, he was just saying the same thing about these fuckwits don't understand what a boycott is because they're buying the product to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Strawberry Wine was done by Deana Carter. My Google Foo is strong today.
I very much like strawberry wine.
I've had strawberry wine before.
Does it taste like
bad.
strawberries?
If
Yeah.
it's done right. Although the only wine I've actually helped make was when my father made dandelion wine.
I actually like chocolate wine.
Now, to me,
Ew.
that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like that would set right.
Agreed. I mean, I'd try it, but like, I don't know. It seems weird.
I like it.
Then again, I've had chocolate, with with fruit flavored liqueurs in it, which basically,
yeah.
that's more or less a stronger wine.
I saw somebody on TikTok, like they were trying out like a cooking hack or something where they took their coffee maker and put a bunch of Starburst in the filter and then put fucking tequila through it to make like fruity tequila. And I'm like, okay, like wouldn't you be cooking off the alcohol though by heating it up? Like I'd have to check the temperatures and see like at what temperature, you get it at, but apparently it tastes really good.
Alcohol will evaporate at room temperature if you leave it out long enough.
I'd be kind of wondering what that would be doing to the coffee maker too.
Yeah, well, that's the reason wine glasses have stems.
Yes.
Because they don't want your body heat actually getting into the wine, because it will cause the alcohol to start gassing off and it will change the flavor.
I like these these yuppie wine freaks that will hold the glass by the base under the stem, so I'm just holding the bottom, it's come on, you idiots.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
there was a restaurant and it closed during the pandemic, which made me very sad, but it was called Oblivion, and it was they had like basic American like food, like burgers, onion rings, that kind of thing, but they had all these like microbrews and imported ciders and stuff, and like they had this one that I absolutely fell in love with. It was strawberry and lime, and it was so good, but it was a cider, and it was weird because it was like strawberry lime, but then it had like a creamy aftertaste that like it's hard to place, and it sounds weird, but it was actually delicious.
Sounds good. I like ciders.
Yeah, it was Kopparberg.
Yeah, I won't drink beer, but I like a good hard cider. Unfortunately, I can't find one around here that I like.
I
None
could
of the
use a good
places
hard
carry.
anything.
Yeah, well, none of the places here carry the brands that I like, and I've tried like 4 or 5 other brands, and
Oh man.
none of them really taste like cider. They just taste like beer.
I like the Angry Orchard green apple cider, and there was another one.
That's the link to the website for the cider. The one I tried was the strawberry lime, but they've got a bunch of other flavors, so you might be able to find it near you. But this place, that's one of their onion rings I'm wearing as a bracelet. Like, it was amazing, and I miss that restaurant.
Yeah, never heard of that brand either.
He wants to come say hi.
And what's his favorite beer?
I got to move.
You got to move.
Moo?
Hey, how about we play a little game? How about you tell me some country capitals? What's the capital of Sweden?
Stockholm.
Stockholm. What about Lithuania? Vilnius. What about, that's where your great grandmother came from. What about Chile? Santiago. What about Peru? Lima. What about Uruguay? Montevideo. What about
Monaco.
Monaco? What's the capital of Monaco?
It's city.
Oh, Monaco City? Okay. Let's see. What about France? Paris. What about Norway? Oslo. What about Kazakhstan? Astana. Like he has all of these memorized. It's crazy. Okay, how about we'll go with the states. What about Vermont? What's the capital of Vermont? Montpelier. What's the capital of Michigan? Lansing. What about Minnesota? St. Paul. What about Alabama? Montgomery. What about Louisiana? Baton Rouge. Good job, Bugs.
You know, at his age, knowing all that, I would bet that he's got some kind of savant going in him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you just got to find out the base of it and capitalize on it.
Oh, he can tell you like the flags too. Like he can describe the flags of the different countries as well.
I'm gonna know all 50 U.S. state flags.
Oh, you know all the 50 U.S. state flags? Bitch, I don't even know
Can
that.
he do that? Can he do that with mathematics?
He's pretty good with math too. I have dyscalculia, so I it's basically math dyslexia. So like I am fucking useless when it comes to numbers.
Is that autistic hyperfocusing stuff?
Yeah. Somebody's got a TV or radio in the background.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Let me turn it off.
Okay, Godless Scummer's asking what's the capital of Scotland?
What's the capital of Scotland? Edinburgh. Edinburgh? Yeah.
Yep, Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Well, he had said Berg, but like that's why I was checking with him. What about What about Namibia? Say it a little louder. Okay.
Nerdy, if your pie is getting down to decimal places, you're cutting the pieces way too small.
Oh, geez, yeah, Kitty, turn him on to memorizing pi.
I mean, I'm taking him to Vegas with me when he gets older.
Seriously about that pi though, there's
Not illegal.
that's a real thing that people compete in it and all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
Austin, Texas.
Okay, Tina Jones is asking about Wales.
Wales. Oh, what's the capital of Wales?
Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Whales aren't a country, they're an animal.
The capital of Wales, Dolphin.
Unfortunately,
Okay, capital of Brazil. Now everybody's
What's
quizzing
all right?
me.
Capital of Brazil.
Oh, I know that one. I know that one.
I got it with real big nail. It's Brasilia with finesse.
Brasilia.
Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Good job. Let's see if anybody has any others they want to ask.
New Guinea.
How about New Guinea?
This is
Oh.
Moresby.
What is it?
Port Moresby.
Port Moresby.
How
I
about,
wouldn't know. I don't know all of them.
How about Flandersville?
Flandersville. I don't even know if that's a place.
No, it's not.
It's a
trying to
Simpsons
trip
reference,
them
isn't
up.
it?
How about Monaco?
This and Monaco. And the capital is also Monaco.
Okay. What about Albania?
With Tijuana.
Yeah. Okay. What about
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg?
Luxembourg. We get south.
Oh, the capital of Luxembourg is Luxembourg? Okay.
And they speak Luxembourgish.
Luxembourgish. Okay.
Holland.
What about Holland?
It's in Netherlands.
It's the Netherlands. Yes. What's the capital?
This is Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. How about Australia?
This is Canberra.
What is it?
Canberra.
I don't.
Canberra.
Canberra? Okay.
Actually, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly.
Yeah, I
or
have
to
no
get one of
idea.
The Australians.
Canberra.
What about Spain?
This is Madrid.
Madrid. What about Colombia?
This is gonna be Bogota.
Bogota. What about Paraguay?
Asuncion.
Asuncion. Good job.
Ecuador.
The capital of Ecuador is Quito.
Quito, Ecuador.
Okay,
Can I
Nerdy's
clean up
asking
some
about Papua New Guinea.
Trash.
What about Papua New Guinea?
This is Port Moresby.
Port Moresby.
I'm gonna.
What about Armenia?
This is Yerevan.
What is it?
Yerevan.
Yerevan? You guys are going to have to tell me because I don't even know all these. How about North Korea?
This is Pyongyang.
Pyongyang. That's right. What about South Korea?
This is gonna be Seoul.
Seoul. Yeah. Good job. You are so smart. You are so smart.
I'm gonna clean up some trash cans on a beach in Ecuador.
You're going to clean up some trash cans on a beach in Ecuador? Well, if we go visit Ecuador, we can go do that. What about
Yeah.
Kazakhstan?
This is Bishkek.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it because I don't know.
Peter Noddle is right. I would have got the capital of Australia wrong. I probably would have said Sydney first.
I would say with this track record here, you can pretty much believe anything.
Yeah, he's like so like I Smile and Nod like take his word for it. How about Liechtenstein?
This is Vaduz.
Vaduz? You're so smart.
And Salt Lake City, Utah, where the buffalo would roam.
Yeah.
Great. So now it's just not
You're
smarter
brilliant.
than a fifth grader. Now we're not smarter than a second grader.
Right?
States have got
How about Massachusetts? What's the capital?
Boston.
Boston. Oh, and everybody might appreciate this. What is Manhattan style clam chowder?
Abomination.
That's right. It's an abomination. That's my boy.
We got states that touch
You don't put tomatoes in clam chowder. That's an abomination.
Oh, I agree.
that touch the ocean have some.
No, because so he does not like saying swear words. Like my sisters will try to get him to curse and he doesn't do it. And when I first told him, like he was talking about clam chowder and I was like, you know, New England clam chowder is good, not Manhattan. And I was explaining to him, it's like, it's an abomination. Can you say that? And he's like, nope, not going to say it. I was like, abomination is not a bad word. It's not a swear word. And he's like, okay, abomination. But he could also like describe the flags of the different countries to you as well. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, he did a couple of state capitals there too, Peter.
He is so smart.
He knows more than a lot of adults. A lot of adults don't even know the capital of the state they live in.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
I get crazy when TV show people do this man on the street kind of thing and ask people simple questions like who was the last president of the United States? You know, that they have just no freaking clue.
Yeah, it's like honestly, it's kind of crazy, but you know, I mean, I don't know. He enjoys this. It's like something that he will actually seek out on his own, like watching things where it's going through countries and capitals and states and capitals and flags and everything. And I encourage it because it's good to know these things. I don't even know all of them. Like he's got more knowledge up here in his hyper focused areas than I do, because I couldn't tell you the capital of Montenegro. What's the capital of Montenegro? Yeah, see, I don't even know. And I know most of the state capitals, like, but I'd have to think about it. Whereas he can do them quick.
I didn't even know that Montenegro was a country.
The Honduras flag has got a coat of arms.
The Honduras flag has a coat of arms? Okay. I believe you. I do not doubt you when it comes to countries, states, capitals, flags. Like that.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah, hold on.
If somebody came up to you and asked you, what is the capital of Africa? What would you say to them?
What would you say if someone said, what's the capital of Africa?
Don't know.
Don't know. What about the capital of South Africa?
This is Victoria, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein.
Victoria, Cape Town, and
Pretoria, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein.
Pretoria, Cape Town, and
Bloemfontein.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, kiddo. Making me feel like a fucking idiot.
I asked that, Kitty, because of course we all know that Africa is a continent, but there's an amazing number of people who have no clue that it is. That they think it's just one country.
You like the flag of the Seychelles? Well, I'm pretty sure rich people do too, because it's one of the places they store their money to get out of paying taxes. What does the flag of the Seychelles look like?
It's blue, yellow, red, white, and green. This is the flag of Romania and Hungary combined.
Okay. Again, I will take your word for it, kiddo. What's the capital of Wyoming? Cheyenne. I saw someone mention Wyoming in the comments, so.
Yeah, I was trying to look through my disorganized folders to find something here.
Who's the dumbest president of all time?
Oh, I mean, that's kind of, I would say either W or Trump. Like, it's kind of like, it really depends. Like, they're both bottom of the barrel.
I think Trump exceeded him, but I would not ask your son to be making something that's a judgment call like that.
Yeah.
George W. Bush knew what the nuclear triad was, so.
I actually made this meme to troll Americans for how bad they are on geography. Most Americans are not able to identify their own state on a blank map.
Oh, that's pretty good. Send it to me on the DM.
I'll have trouble with it's not the Baltic states, the Balkans, and those parts that were south near Greece, but west of Italy, that were part of the Soviet Union. I'll have trouble with that, but every other country there outside of that region, I could tell you.
Like my grandmother came here from Lithuania. And like so growing up my dad actually spoke Lithuanian because his mom and his grandmother like that was what they spoke. And I still you're so silly. And I do want to visit like at some point, and I want to visit England because I can trace my family back to like the 1600s on my dad's side when they left the Sussex area of England to come here. Little quiet,
I
okay?
don't know where exactly my grandfather left and his family left Poland. I know that my grandmother on my mom's side, their family was from Rome, but they were Jews. And then on my dad's side, well, we got people there who are in history books, at least one guy, John Wesley Powell. So I know more about that side longer back than my mom's side.
Yeah, I can only go back 5 generations to the turn of the 20th century on my mom's side, because they left Finland when Russia was trying to move the border, and they said they can't stop Russia from taking the land, but they'll be damned if they get anything else. So they took what they could carry, and everybody agreed to burn the town to the ground. So any records of my family before that point were destroyed.
And obviously records from Italy, right? Before World War II, and records from Poland. You get where that's going, right?
Yeah, same thing. My father's side's from Poland, and the only surviving picture anyone has of my father's grandfather, he is in a Russian soldier's uniform. No one ever has any
that was a
explanation of
death
this.
sentence.
So my best guess is that he was conscripted into the Russian army and somehow managed to get aboard a ship to the US and defect.
Yeah, no one wants to be a soldier in the Russian army. You've never wanted to be a soldier in the Russian army in the history of fucking Russia. They used to, I think it was Alexander the First. He was being trained to lead troops by marching children his own age into battle with other generals commanding other children.
Yeah.
Basically, they were having children kill each other to train the emperor how to lead troops.
Yeah, well, it's my mom's side is Finnish and my dad's side is Polish, and the only thing the two have ever had in common is they both like to shoot Russians.
That seems to be a theme of any. My grandfather said the Russians had been mind fucked for centuries. Now, Jews don't really believe in a Satan like Christians do. Satan is more or less an adversarial angel who's under God's heel, a control, but just raising a point, like in the book of Job, or accusing someone in Zechariah chapter 3. But other than that, it doesn't exist the way it does. So when he told me in the late 80s, never trust the Russians to liberate you from anything or the devil would have his due, and you would long for whatever oppressed you, that's sage wisdom.
The only thing the Russians can do right is aircraft. They make very good aircraft.
Vodka.
Yeah.
No, actual aircraft. I don't know. I don't drink vodka, so.
But their aircraft sucks compared to the aircraft that we make.
Well,
The
you
I
do
wouldn't
have
go
to give
say. I
them.
wouldn't go saying that. The MiGs are damn near equal to the Eagle and Falcon.
F-16. Yeah.
No, Kalashnikovs. The AK-47, like, I will say, you know, that's another good Russian.
It's a highly
band.
dependable rifle that's inexpensive and easy to maintain. It's the
Yes.
choice of terrorists and armies, third world armies all over the world.
You
I
do
mean,
have to give them credit for the Soyuz
engineering.
space capsule. The Soyuz space capsule was in continuous service, you know, from the 1960s, and they're still using it today.
But think
And
about Russia.
They probably would have beat us to the moon if the engineers didn't drink the rocket fuel.
I think the guy who was head of the Soviet space program in the early days was actually Ukrainian. And a lot of the Russian, basically when the Soviet Union collapsed, about half their economy and population went away.
Well, yeah, they lost a lot of important aspects of the economy. Well, that's why they're so desperate now to get the Ukraine back, because the Ukraine had the heavy industry. The Ukraine was actually manufacturing most of the armored vehicles for the Russian army.
Oh, I thought it was because they found
Ukraine
oil
made
in
the
Ukraine.
aircraft carrier. The only aircraft carrier the Soviets ever had was made in Ukraine.
Yeah, the aircraft carrier was a very mistaken design in so many respects.
And they wound up, the Russians didn't even have the shore equipment. Like when you pull up to maintain the nuclear aircraft carriers, they have facilities basically to plug the aircraft carrier into shore so you can shut down the reactors and the generators so that you don't have to use them because they have a certain life before they have to be replaced.
Yep.
Well, the Russians did not have the shore equipment to plug their aircraft carrier in, so they wound up killing their power plants just sitting on shore.
Yep. And the trusty ape has a good point. I don't hate the Russians, I just want them to overthrow their dictator.
That's true. The Russians are like, it's this complicated thing where the people are both perpetrator and victim because centuries of mind fucking. CF Beauty was talking about how she or someone she knew actually went to Russia for a while because of being a translator or whatever. It was someone she knew was a translator. And she said the Russians have their own thoughts, but not their own minds. And like some of these people are so brainwashed, they will be perfectly willing to go and do horrible things. But on the other hand, if their government was so shitty, they wouldn't have been brainwashed and they wouldn't want to do the horrible things.
Yeah, well, that's
another
the indoctrination.
point about the Russian people is they have never lived without a dictator of some sort.
Yeah.
Like the North Koreans. I mean...
Yeah. Well, and their minds like that are what you get when when they're indoctrinated from birth in a system that the government controls all the schools.
I had a Spanish teacher in middle school, and she told me about something that she was an elderly lady, and like when Castro first took over in her elementary school, they basically went in to her class, and she was like little, and it was basically close your eyes and pray to God for like treats and toys and stuff. And the kids would do it and see nothing, and then close their eyes and pray to Castro, and then they would open their eyes and like people had put stuff on the kids' desks. And I was like, that is just fucking it makes my skin crawl to think of like that level of like an indoctrination type thing.
Well, yeah, it gets them to think of the dictator like Santa Claus.
It's a good thing I don't have any kind of indoctrination here. Now we gotta go say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Or DeSantis.
Yeah, I got to age. I remember saying the pledge every day until I was in until about 6th grade when I was in school, and I think that was when they decided that they couldn't keep doing it.
It was like
I was forced to do it.
You can't get the book 1984 in a public library in Florida or in the school libraries
Yep.
because they're afraid a book that shows kids how people are indoctrinated will make them all woke. So
Yeah, that's their playbook.
That and
I
mine
call
comes-
it Reap Suck, Republican suck, just like Ing suck.
But so just like to lighten the mood, I'm here. Honestly, my dad's in the hospital right now. He got taken to the ER.
That definitely lightens the mood.
So no, like I'm here to distract myself, but I wanted to show off. I have my emotional support demon, and his name is Lucifer.
Hey.
Oh,
He's got toe
you
beans.
watched the click.
I do.
You watched the click.
I named him Lucifer, and he's got toe beans. Look at the little toe beans.
Cute.
Wait a minute. Pull that back up for the toe beans. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he's only got 3 toes on each paw.
But he's so cute.
Yep. He's a chunky dude.
But yes, I love the click. The click is hilarious.
Okay, I never
There were
heard of the click
25
before.
He's a YouTuber, and this was a makeshift thing. There were 25,429 of these made. So because it was basically a pre-order thing, and so they made them to order. So I got one for me, and I got one for my niece because she's my little gothling.
I'm sure she appreciated it.
Oh, she loved it. It was a birthday gift. But yeah, this is Lucifer. I call him Lucy.
The shills want to make grub muffins, but it's like for the initial to make like 100 of them, it's like $2,500. And a grub muffin is basically Amy Hogan called a dirty hippie a grub muffin one day, and then DKG wound up drawing a grub muffin and then making a gift to play and some music, and then I made a 3D grub muffin. I have it pole dancing on my channel, and it's really cute. And I can't wait till we can get some grub muffins actually made. I will buy one.
Like,
Yeah.
send me like a picture or like a sketch or something, and
Let me see if I have the grub muffin actually like on my computer.
Yeah, if you've got a picture of it, I don't have one saved on my computer.
But for anyone like my whole family just got COVID, and like we're good now.
That's
But
a
my
grub
dad,
muffin.
oh, it's so cute. But my dad, they just gave him remdesivir, and so it's a COVID hospitalization. So that's fun. Like he's been putting it off, and finally we were able to convince him to go because he was in a lot of pain and having trouble breathing. And
Yeah,
he's
if
got
you're having
COPD.
trouble
So
breathing, you go to the hospital. Yeah.
my dad is a stubborn motherfucker. Like dead ass, he would be the one that if he had a chainsaw accident, like he would just, take a trash bag, stuff some ice in there, wrap it around his stump, hit it with a belt to make a tourniquet, and drive himself to the hospital. Like that is the kind of stubborn my dad is. But he seems to be doing
Well,
okay.
You can
I
walk it
did
off.
catch my thumb with the table saw, and I drove myself 45 minutes to the hospital. I just had to wrap it up in a dirty t-shirt to make it not bleed on the way.
Like
Oh.
I remember once I split open my chin falling off a bike, and like it split all the way down to the bone, and like they didn't give me anything at the ER for like the bleeding, so I'm just bleeding all over the place. Like they have me in a wheelchair, but they didn't even give me like a paper towel or gauze or anything, so I'm just bleeding everywhere.
I was almost considering going to the hospital over the weekend. Something I'm not sure if it was a bite or what, but the spot in my foot started like getting this burning, itching sensation. I tried washing it off and all that. After I got the sensation to go away, it turned into this huge bruise. And I wasn't sure what it was. I was just keeping a close eye on it to make sure it didn't get any worse.
my son loves the penguins in that. Like he was like, look at the little penguins. He in Commander 401's picture.
Yeah, I have multiple videos of the penguins, and I introduced the baby penguins, Noah and Leia. I named one Noah because I'm going to have the cherry bomb in the toilet so that we can have a flood.
Hey, Commander, do you want to really piss off the right wingers? Name the penguins after that gay penguin couple and their baby penguin.
Those can be the neighbors. Because I have a living room that Mippet read a story called "Don't Call Me Bear," and I'm just waiting on, because the book is big, and I'm waiting on the 3D scans. And the second part of my latest video is going to be Mippet reading the baby penguins a story, and then the third part of it is going to be thrashing Daniel Pratt, because he's like fun to make fun of. And I am remaking the videos where Operator Starsky is interrogating, as a penguin, interrogating Daniel Pratt, who is animated as a polar bear, a flat earth polar bear. And Pratt is one of those people who thinks Putin is the bee's knees. So that was the original inspiration for it.
I can't believe that Daniel Pratt is still around. Holy cow.
Well, he basically called for another insurrection recently, and his latest video that I snagged today, he's calling for the violence, so his channel's probably going to get nuked again. But he was like threatening to kill people if we had a draft to go to war with Russia, and he has no fucking clue that the reason why we're supplying Ukraine with everything is that we don't wind up having to go to war. It's like if you listen to FDR's Arsenal of Democracy speech, and then you listen to the America First rhetoric, and you listen to
cookware. Made in.
If you listen to all the rhetoric that's flying, it's like the 1930s. Only this time the invading army sucks, and there's a chance to stop it.
Yep.
I'm hearing some.
Well, and that's the whole point. If we don't stop Russia with the Ukraine, they're going to think it's okay to just go in and move into another country a year or two later.
Like Finland.
Yeah,
well, that's why Finland
Poland.
joined the UN and why Sweden is joining the UN.
I heard there's been some leaks saying that the war with Ukraine isn't going as well as it's been reported recently.
Yeah, no, Ukraine's kind of on the edge right now, and they haven't been resupplying their northern forces.
Yeah,
they're Putin has more money and more power than they do, and we can't possibly supply them beyond the point that of Putin's of capabilities.
well, Russia has the sheer force of numbers.
There's two versions of that leaked stuff. There's one that obviously was on the original server, and then there's this former Navy chick who basically was posing as Dumbass, whatever the Ukrainian name for girl is, and she was actually serving in the armed forces at the time that she was live streaming with Kremlin fucking idiots and collecting money for Putin and just putting it in her pocket. That just came out recently. And she is the one who actually made it blow up, who actually got the she uploaded doctored fake documents. Well, they're kind of like fakeish real. Some things were changed, but she's the one that actually caused it to explode once she found out about it. Look up, I think it's Jake Bohr's YouTube channel. He does Ukraine stuff. He'll explain it better than I did, but people here who were in the armed forces were actually doing all this shit. The only chance Ukraine actually has is the fact that the Russians are so goddamn incompetent.
Well, the
But
fact
even
that they didn't
operators,
maintain their equipment.
and they're incompetent because, like, they're down to troops that don't want to be there.
Yep.
They're having to throw them into pits, shove metal pipes up their asses as forms of discipline to get them to go up to. You can stay here and have pipes shoved up your ass, or you can go to the front and just die.
Choices.
What kind of
So
pipe?
that's what they're having. I don't know, but I guess some people might like it. Most people wouldn't. But if the amount of cajoling they're having to do to the people that they have now, because basically the original invasion force, it's gone. It's either dead or wounded because
Yeah.
they're planning and they're just everything sucked. I don't even think they have working nukes because, like, the tritium in the neutron generators has a 12.3 year half-life. And if you don't change those out every so often, you don't get the boom.
Yeah, well, Putin didn't expect it to take more than a week or two. And I think what Randall's saying here is nobody's brave enough to sniper Putin. And I think this is what most of the Western nations are waiting for, is just, can we help the Ukraine hold off long enough until somebody gets the idea to assassinate Putin?
Given the choice between shoving pipes up my ass or going to the front line to die, I think I'd go to the front line and surrender.
Yeah, well, and actually what's been a very effective tactic for the Ukraine is they've been broadcasting messages to the Russian soldiers of how to surrender to a drone.
Mm-hmm.
And they have had entire Russian squads surrendering to unmanned drones.
I just worry about their families still back in Russia.
Right, and that's the leverage they've got over most of them, is that, most of them can't defect, they can't do anything because they know it'll be taken out on their family members at home. I have to step away for a moment.
I do think the Ukrainians, given the incompetence and the fact that most of the Mobics don't want to be there, do have a chance.
I go take care of my bird.
Ask a maggot idiot where Ukraine is on a map.
I mean, a lot of
They
them don't even
probably-
know, like, European countries, like Western European countries. I mean, they could probably name Italy because, it looks like a boot. But beyond that, I don't think they could tell you any of them. Hell, a lot of them don't even know the states of
They
the
can't even
country.
point what state they live in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but it was like said by others better, but when the right wing learned that or was told that banning books is unconstitutional, they just defunded public education and libraries instead. I mean, it has the same effect. In fact, it has even more of a negative and detrimental effect than just banning books, because for them to maintain power, they need gerrymandering and they need an idiot electorate. So, I mean, it's kind of depressing when you think about it. Like, I had to check out of politics. I followed politics like daily for years, but a couple months ago, I was like, I need to take a step back. So I'm starting to like pay more attention, but like I took a break because I was just so burnt out. Like every single day I felt like Picard of like, damage report, like every day, like what happened first thing in the morning, like what idiot shit happened while I was asleep kind of thing.
Here. Well, give you an idea, the horrible place where I worked at, all this shit that you've only seen in the last 4 years, or 5 years. Back in like 2013, I had coworkers saying wonderful things about Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. And they were able to look at nuclear power plant prints. And they had cars that they couldn't afford. And then after I left that place and I talked to a former friend of mine who worked there, the FBI did a fucking raid of that place right as the creepy Russian shit was coming to the foreground.
I mean, and like just the fact of the matter is like there were Americans waving fucking Russian flags, and I'm just like, what? But then again, when you think about it, the people that would do that are the same ones that wave Confederate flags, and like, you know, that's the flag of the traitorous losers to the Civil War. So, you know, they want to claim patriotism and, oh, you know, we're the real Americans, blah blah blah. It's like, fuck you, you guys back
And you
traitors.
cheerlead the Red Army.
And you
You're
cheerlead,
cheerleading the fucking Red Army. You're
right?
cheerleading the tanks of the sickles and hammers and calling me a communist for recycling
Because you want
ideas
universal
from
health
Canada.
care. You want universal health care and like maybe like, you know, universal like fucking parental leave and like a higher minimum wage, and that's communism. But supporting the Russians, totally fine.
Does anybody know
Oh,
what the medical system in Russia is about how it's structured?
yeah, if you're not in the military and you're not filthy rich, hang it up. And doctors, for the most part, well, I don't know how true this is anymore, but there was this peer-reviewed article, Hobbes, Locke, Thomas Paine, and Vladimir Putin's Russia, and it discussed the collapse of the Soviet Union right up to the end of Vladimir Putin's second term, when he had to basically let Medvedev, or I'm just making fun of his name, take over. And they have maximum wages for certain sectors. And at least at the time that was written, doctors had a maximum wage. So that was creating a brain drain. Now, this was probably in the early the closing of this was this article was like in 2007, 2008. So that could have changed, but it basically, you're not rich, you're not in the military, no doctor for you. And right now, no doctor for you if you're in the military.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like based on statistics, like the United States could be classified as a third world country.
Yeah.
Which is kind of horrifying when you think about it.
Well, we have rot. We have rot. And if there's going to be any evangelical conservative trolls watching this, let me just explain what America used to do. If it wasn't for S-chip, something that you enjoy screaming socialism at, I would be dead. I thought socialism was supposed to kill people, but it turned out back when S-chip was being sold, and back when all the government programs that helped the least amongst us were being sold and you could promote them without being called a Marxist, people understood through a religious framework that society had a duty to care for the least amongst us, like kids with disabled mothers. And then there was this organization, right? My grandparents, I love them. They spoiled me rotten. If this organization called Staff Builders had not come in and this guy, Pat, had not provided the discipline that I needed, I would probably be in jail. But like he turned my life around in 1 year. And then they had the Newt Gingrich revolution, and Staff Builders was replaced. I forget the name of the private company, but I got some guy whose last name was not last name. I don't even know his last name. His first name was Sanjay. And the first thing he tells me when I'm asking, why aren't you behaving like Pat? He says, my boss wants to see you fail. And you go from a registered RN, licensed RN with mental health credentials for adolescents to some guy who used to work in a bar who says, my boss wants to see you fail. And you wonder why you're losing an entire generation, right?
Yep.
The kids notice, and then we spend like the 1990s and early 2000s, got out of high school in the early 2000s, and I had to listen to evangelicals explaining why, since I didn't have a dad in my life, society should punish me and make my life worse, and I would never amount to anything. So that's what we're dealing with.
Well, that's a common tactic with the Republicans, is if there's an agency they don't like, they staff it with people who are incompetent, so then they can complain about how it's failing at its job and they privatize it.
Well, yeah. And another thing, like, if they actually cared about, you know, society and having a functioning society and democracy, like they always want to claim, or complain about crime rates and everything. But one of the number one predicators to crime and to substance abuse is poverty. Like, if you can actually tackle poverty, you are solving so many societal issues at the source. But instead, they don't care if kids are going to bed hungry. They don't care if a woman, can't afford to have, another child. They don't want her to be able to get an abortion. They don't care, they want to make sure that babies get born. But then, like, if that child doesn't get an education, grows up in abject poverty, and is starving, malnourished, undereducated, and sickly, they don't care. I mean,
Well-
Carlin said it best.
Yeah.
If you're pre-born, you're good. If you're preschool, you're fucked.
Well, the Republicans want to try to keep the poor people miserable enough that they're willing to take any job for any pay.
Because the society that they have structured requires a large group of people to basically just be boiled down into oil to grease the wheels of capitalism.
Yeah. They need a population that is desperate enough to do anything just to survive. And what they don't realize is that when you push that just a hair too far, that's when you get a revolution. As long as more than half the people feel they have more to lose than they have to gain, the system remains stable.
And then, like, you're so concerned about communism, right? What happens, right? Like right now, the Democrats, they're not communists. They're not even socialists by Cold War standards. They're just for certain government programs to help the least amongst us, which used to be like Christian back in like the 1950s and 60s and 70s, before Roe versus Wade at best and the Civil Rights Act at worst, because, like pro-choice, but not necessarily celebrate abortion. That's why I said Roe versus Wade at best, because there are some arguments, but still we need to keep it legal. Evangelicals supported most of what they scream socialism at. Take like Bernie Sanders. He is basically, if you made him a little bit more racist, because he's not racist at all, he'd be your average greatest generation guy. So that's how far we've come to the right. Now, what happens if you take a moderate party like that and you basically have a revolution where the radicals, the true radicals, take over and you have a violent revolution? Then you start singing, sorry, blah, 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 blah. I actually don't know the words, but you might get what you fear.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it was actually like Southern Baptists back in the 60s, like before Roe versus Wade, they were not anti-choice. Like, it was basically, they considered it a medical procedure and it was a necessary evil. And the official stance of the church was that, you know, abortion is a medical procedure, that a necessary evil, basically. They were not advocating for pro-life positions, which aren't actually pro-life, they're pro-birth, but that's a whole other tangent, you know. And it was around the time of the civil rights movement where they realized that they were losing that I'm talking, baby. They realized that they were losing that battle, that, you know, it was becoming more widely socially acceptable for, you know, people of different ethnicities to be treated like human fucking beings, you know? And so they were losing that, and they couldn't really drum up support on that issue, so they had to essentially hitch their horse to a different wagon, and they gave up on, you know, pushing for like segregation and shit, and instead were like, all right, let's protect the unborn. And it was a rallying cry for the voting bloc after the Southern strategy. Like, it's all been calculated, and it's so fucked up.
And when they felt they had lost Roe versus Wade, then they went after the gays. And now that they lost the thing on gay marriage, they're going after the trans.
And then they circled back, you know, because, you know, Heritage Foundation and all that fun stuff with our Supreme Court justices, like, have taken away Roe versus Wade. There was a woman here in Florida that she was refused health care, essentially, because she essentially she went into like an early labor, like, and it was going to be a non-viable pregnancy because she had lost all of her amniotic fluid, and she ended up having to deliver her dead baby in a toilet, and she was worried about getting sepsis because there was technically still a heartbeat, so could not get, you know, care here in Florida. This just happened recently. And it's happening all over the country. Women are being maimed. They are dying because people that have a vested interest in riling up stupid people, getting them to vote the way they want over these issues that are like emotionally driven. They're not following facts. They're not following logic, because if you followed facts and logic, you would want to have better access to healthcare and contraception and sex education, because that's what lowers abortion rates. Banning abortion, all it does is make it less safe, and it leads to more dead women and people who can get pregnant.
Katie, they have a rationalization about that, though. They don't care if it costs women their lives, because if they're a woman who would have an abortion, they might as well be dead.
Yeah. I mean, well, there was the guy in, I think it was Louisiana, where he was like, well, you know, our maternal death rates, like, aren't so bad if you don't look at, like, the ones including women of color. Like, bitch.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, but like the new laws they're passing are also causing brain drains. In Oklahoma, because of the abortion bans being so restrictive, they are scaring the doctors away. And multiple hospitals in Oklahoma have had to close their maternity wards because they can't find enough staff for them. So the women who need prenatal care, the women who want to have a healthy baby and carry it through, can't get a doctor anymore.
And even before this bullshit with Roe versus Wade, like, Florida was not a very good state to be in for an abortion, because I had an abortion. It was over 10 years ago. It was 12-ish years ago. And I was just escaping an abusive marriage, and I was not emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, I could not. There was no way in hell I was going to be able to have a child at that time. And they required me to go through a transvaginal ultrasound, which basically is shoving a wand. It is very uncomfortable, and it is not medically necessary. But not only did I have to have an ultrasound before I could get the procedure, but they actually had to physically violate me with this ultrasound wand by doing an internal one, just to make it that much more miserable.
If I remember
here
correctly,
in Florida.
If I remember correctly, wasn't the law whether if you can't prove it was rape within like something like 15 days or 15
That's
weeks?
something they're trying to do now, I think, where they basically want like documented proof of rape or incest to allow for an
mo-
abortion.
Yeah, and it has to be within this really short period of time.
Yeah, Florida wants to protect rapists. They don't want to protect people who can have babies. They only care about protecting rapists. Oh, another thing that Florida is looking at doing with regard to trans rights is, say Mage and I, we have a child together and our child is trans and I live in California and I am getting trans affirming care for our child. Mage lives in Florida and our child goes and sees Mage for 2 weeks over the summer. DeSantis and the Republicans here want to say, oh, well, that is child abuse that, the other parent is giving trans affirming care. So we're going to just say that your custody agreement is null and void and give you sole custody of the child to keep it in Florida so that it does not get trans affirming health care. That is something they're trying to do here right now.
Aren't you glad he's not fascist?
Like,
I can't say that with a straight face.
I can't even. And he's picking a fight with Disney, who's the largest employer, and Disney's one of the only reasons that people actually come to this fucking state.
Well, and when we're talking about the bans on trans affirming healthcare, they're pushing more and more to extend that to include any type of mental health care, which means these kids can't even get therapy to figure out why they feel so strange.
And they want to extend it to adults too, because at first they're like, "Oh, it's only about the kids," but then they want to extend it to adults, like the "Don't Say Gay" bill.
Missouri is already extending it to adults.
Yeah, Missouri has extended it up to age 26.
And like here, they did the "Don't Say Gay" bill, where it was like, "Oh, we're not teaching anything about gender or sexuality for like early." It was like they were saying it was like K through 3 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Originally it was K through 3, and then they extended.
Now they're extending it K through 12. So the original thing where they said, oh, it's only for young children that we don't want this. It's not about the older kids. Now it's all kids.
Which means you can't even talk to them about it until after they're 18. Which means you can't talk to a kid who's going through puberty about sex.
And sex ed in this state wasn't that great to begin with.
Yeah, but when the kids are going through puberty, you can't explain to them what's happening to their own body.
Wait till they start restricting parents in their own home to do any of this teaching. It's coming, I tell you.
I mean, we are literally falling off a fucking cliff. Like, this country is going to shit.
And it's not even over real Christianity. It's this fake. It's this fake stuff where what matters is controlling other people's private parts rather than treating your neighbor as you would want to be treated.
The Republican obsession with other people's genitals.
Their obsession with children's genitals. It is very fucking creepy.
Oh, yeah.
They want to pass bills where they can inspect the genitals of children before they play sports.
There's a woman.
Oh, you heard about that one, huh?
There's a woman on Twitter who focuses on finding some of the latest sexual assault charges and some of the latest pedophilia charges and posts them. And it's clear. I mean, it's absolutely crystal clear that it is Republicans doing it, priests, religious leaders doing it, and police.
Absolutely. I would, dead ass, no joke, I would rather my child go to a drag show in a room packed with trans people. And I know he would be a hell of a lot safer by the statistics in that building with those people than being in the room with a fucking clergyman, a cop, or a fucking politician, specifically a conservative politician. Because if you look at the numbers, like, I'm not going to say that trans people never do that because they're people. Like, but they are very underrepresented when it comes to like sex crimes. Because if you're actually looking at the statistics, overrepresented are conservative white men and underrepresented are trans people, LGBT people. They are less likely to be predators of children, whereas people like that are decrying them as groomers and shit for their most recent talking points, they're more likely.
The part that hurts me the most as a trans woman is that they stand there and scream, "Oh, you're trans, you're dangerous. that's a bad thing. They stand up with their religious people, religious leaders, like they're God, and then when they offend something, it's, oh well, they just did this one wrong thing and we'll forgive them. But if a trans person commits anything, from burglary on up to anything,
Well, just appearing
it's
in
all
person.
trans people. Let me finish. It's all trans people all the time, all the drag queens all the time, and it's just so totally hypocritical. These people are blind to themselves, absolutely blind to themselves. They're all mentally ill.
No, I agree. And it really sucks that our political process has become so polarized with snippets, talking points, and like appeals to emotion, where you're not actually looking at the facts, you're not actually looking at statistics, you're not looking at the laws and bills being passed. You're literally just taking some little snippet you heard on Fox News from fucker Carlson, where
Oh, I
he's
like to
trying
call
to
him
get
that.
people riled up about nonsense issues when there are real actual issues affecting people and killing people.
Tell me if this sounds at all familiar, this is from the 70s. Please remember, homosexuals don't reproduce, they recruit, and they are out after my children and your children.
Where the fuck you
Just
think the gay people come from?
just
Straight
replace-
people have gay kids.
Just replace the homosexual with trans.
Yeah.
This is from that was a quote from Anita Brandt from
Bryant.
the 70s. Bryant.
High face lady.
Yeah.
The orange
And
juice
it's-
lady.
Yeah, the orange juice lady.
It's appeal to fear and anger. Let's be clear. Appeals to empathy, sympathy, and pity for, well, like poor kids or sick kids. That doesn't work on the people who call themselves Christians for the most part. I'm not saying all Christians are like that. I am just saying that there seems to be a lack of the emotions that
Well-
your gods seem to have.
What it's really all about is the Republicans will do anything to stay in power. They need all these distractions because the one thing they don't want to do that they will avoid at all costs is actually talking about the issues that affect people. Because then people will realize they don't have any solutions, they don't have any plans at all.
Interesting enough, it's one of my earliest memories of going to church. Coming out of church, this lady, after talking about forgiveness and all that in the sermon, comes out and starts it's going on using and being really racist and bigoted, using the Bible to justify it. That was one of my earliest memories of going to church.
Okay, so but there's like a reason, and going back to what Commander 401 had said, and even tying into your point, it comes down to whether you have a vertical or a horizontal morality. Like a lot of Christians tend to have a vertical morality, meaning like they believe that their morals come from God. And when you are aligned in that way, it is much easier if you see someone above you as where you get your morals from, to then be able to see some people as below you. Whereas a horizontal morality is your morality is based on what is the best for the most people, and everybody's on that same level. And you tend to find that people who are more secular or atheist, or even like actual like Christians that actually like practice what they preach, where they actually do follow the teachings of Jesus, because they do exist and I have met them. They tend to, again, be with that more horizontal morality, where it's what can we do that's going to improve the quality of life for the most people, and their morality is based on what's best for everybody, as opposed to it's all coming top down, like fucking trickle down economics, where everyone gets pissed on except for the people at the top. And again, if you think of something above you and you're on this vertical line, then it's much easier to think of someone below you than if you're starting out with everybody being on the same level.
Interesting argument.
Altruism
Good.
versus egoism. I'm going to point this out that you remember Paul Ryan and his love for Ayn Rand?
Yes.
Her books were endorsed by LaVey's Church of Satan. That's why there's a Temple of Satan, because so many atheists who wanted to take the piss found her ideas juvenile and self-centered. There was a book called The Antichrist. It was written by Friedrich Nietzsche, I think published in 1887 or 1888. During the pandemic, I bought that book and I took a highlighter, and every place where evangelicals hate the way my brain works, and every place where Friedrich Nietzsche hated the way the brains of Christians and Jews worked 140 years ago, I highlighted. And wherever Nietzsche was not bitching about or talking about like Buddha or something else unrelated, there's a huge overlap of where your modern evangelicals hate the way the brains of Christians and Jews worked 140 years ago.
Perp, I
It's
gotta get
almost like
going
it's
here.
a different religion.
Okay, Jenny. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for giving us the nice scenery.
Yeah, I just after 2.5 hours, I gotta go pee and stuff.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Yeah,
All right,
I
see you
should
guys.
probably.
Go
I
ahead.
should probably wrap this up too, because I've still got to call some doctors' offices, so I've got a couple hours left while they're still answering the phones.
All right.
I hope
Well,
I didn't like go too far into it.
Oh no! It's nothing you said. I'm just realizing that the doctor's offices will stop answering the phones in about 2 hours, so I better try to get a hold of them.
well, bye, Chad. It was nice having you guys here. Some great comments
Bye,
today.
Jenny. Can you say bye, Miss Jenny?
Bye, Miss Jenny.
Bye,
Bye, Miss Jenny.
Bye, Jenny.
Don't get caught.
Bye, Miss Jenny.
Yeah, she left.
So, anybody have anything they want to plug before we go? Commander, I saw that you had new things up about the penguins in space recently.
Oh yeah. That was part of the little thing Mippet and I are working on. I also have a earlier video where the penguins are basically making fun of Robin Bollocks. I put him in a carnival psychic machine because I came across a video where he was doing a cold reading, psychic cold reading, and he used my grandmother's nickname, my Bubby's nickname. And so I had to make fun of it. So I have him in a carnival psychic machine.
Oh, that's where
And
that came from.
I'm remaking some of the earlier videos. So, just revamping them, and I'm doing some other things. So go check it out. And I think you'll find all the penguins cute and fun.
Yep. Well, Kitty, I'm glad to see you again. I know you've had a lot of things going on with your family, so you haven't been online much.
Yeah, but I saw you were streaming. I saw that Kelly was here. I was like, oh, I'll pop in for a minute. I wasn't expecting to be here for over an hour, but it was definitely fun getting to see everybody because it has been a hot minute.
Well, do you have any scheduled appearances coming up?
Not that I know of. Usually it's I either pop into something that's open or, Kelly will be like, hey, do you have anything? But I don't have anything on my schedule right now. But I will post on Twitter if that changes. So
Okay.
You can find me there.
Okay. Off the chain, I will give you a temporary moderator status if you want to post your main link so people can check yours out. Diana, you have anything coming up?
I have got to get what's the word I'm looking for? Organized, because I do want to get started with things again. I realized that, for example, today is Wednesday, and there was that Wednesday show, and I'd like to get that working again. But it's going to take a little while, I guess, to get things up and running. And I guess the next thing I've got going is just Sunday.
Okay, I know that sometimes you've been doing a show, midweek in the evenings. I didn't know if you were planning on that this week.
I think I might give that a shot. And then, maybe that's the way I'm going to get started midweek again. And then the other thing is just schedule them out such that I don't run out of time. Because this past month, I ran out of time for StreamYard, and that's not a good thing. So I'll schedule that out again and try to distribute the time for Sunday and Wednesday. But I haven't quite figured out how to do it yet.
But yeah, I'm just at Kitty the Atheist on Twitter. I put it in the chat.
Yeah. And the links for everyone who appeared on the panel will be in the description of this. So you can just go for the description, go to the description of this. I don't know if it updates that while I'm doing it or if it only updates that after it posts after we close the stream.
Oh, so
but you can find everybody's links in there.
So you know where to go to firebomb these people, right?
Yes.
Yes, including yours.
Okay.
Okay,
Mage, what have you got happening?
Just working on a few scripts right now for upcoming videos. I finally got some distilled water here, so I can do a little DIY soil test.
Oh well,
that'll be something to be doing in a little bit.
Okay, that sounds fun.
What are you testing for?
It's a pH test.
Oh, okay.
It's like it won't give you accurate, specific readings, but it will give you a generalized idea.
Okay,
yeah.
I have to quickly cover a couple of things here.
Okay.
On Saturday, May 20th at 4:30 Central Time, we'll be doing a special stream of a group of older people about what life was like before the internet existed.
Yeah, remind me, please. I got your note, and I do want to let you know I'm interested.
Yep, I was counting on you for that one.
Yeah.
And May 1st is the anniversary of the channel. May 3rd is the first Wednesday in May, so that's when we'll be doing our anniversary show. But I'm going to try pushing the show back 2 hours later to start at 2 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully to get some more different people in here, and in particular trying to make it a more convenient time for people in the UK and Western Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try that for a month or two and see how that works out and decide on the permanent time. And then with that, I just would like to thank all my subscribers. Kitty the Atheist and Lavender Lady here.
Who the hell is that?
I don't know, but she keeps sending me money every month. So Greg Hartwick, Robert X, and Southern Sail, and Vonrek, and of course Skits Crasher is my biggest donor. So appreciate all of you, helping me keep things running.
Yay!
So with that,
and if you firebomb anyone, see this picture up here? Penguins firebomb back.
Yes.
Okay.
Right,
and with that, we will bid you all a goodbye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Later.
Have a great day, everyone.